There are things in Minecraft that feel unfair, but they get progressively more unfair as the video goes on. Starting with this problem with grass. We've got a clock, because this here is showing how grass takes forever to grow. Now, for one, getting grass to move it, you're gonna need silk touch and stuff. That's already annoying. But then just waiting for grass to grow, especially if you're playing on something like Skyblock or OneBlock where you need it to grow out of the central place, very slow, very annoying. You need the right amount of light level, so you gotta go and add enough light. But then you accidentally go and place one block over the top of it, you lose it, and then whole process is ruined. And this guy died. That's brutal. So sponge is supposed to be this great treasure item that you go and find inside of the Elder Guardian temples, the ocean monuments. But for how great it is, sand still is so much better for draining things, including the ocean monuments. Like if I were to go take these sponges, right? I go and place this down. All I did was make this uglier. I barely got rid of any of the water in a meaningful way. You have to use so many sponges. Best case scenario is that you set up something like a nether portal. You're going and drying these out in the nether and then bringing them back. It just takes way too long, as opposed to we could just drop. If I just keep doing this, that is substantially more effective at getting rid of the water. And then we could just go instantly break it. I've never had to dry out sand. The sand came dry as I asked for it. So are sponges worth going for the ocean monuments? Probably not. So what we've got here is leather washing consistency. So now we've got new bundles. Look at this. I haven't even looked at the bundles in the different colors yet. That's cool. If I were to take my leather armor, dye it up, give me a nice red set, then I accidentally make like a blue helmet or something, a purple helmet. No worries. I could wash that all off just fine. But our bundles, which are made of leather, I can't. No luck. Can't wash them off. I don't understand that. It takes that long to get bundles, and then they're just didn't have this one. Back in the old days, coal and charcoal used to look identical. But the one main difference that you would painfully notice this with is that you can't craft charcoal into charcoal blocks. So coal is always going to be better for storage, but charcoal never. I don't know why. And I remember I would have to search through my chests and just accidentally put the wrong thing in the crafting recipe, never get the right recipe out of it. This here is the torch flower not actually being a torch. How disappointing is that? We got light blocks in here, but the torch flower gives off no light despite its name, which basically makes it pointless because the torch flowers, you're not going to be using them to breed up the sniffers or anything. They don't drop the seeds themselves. You can use them to craft, but they just go into one orange dye, which for being an ancient plant, barely anything. It's real disappointing because I love the sniffer, as you might be able to tell by my cape. But this, that could just go right down in the lava. Hey, there, the observer saved it. What are you doing? You're using a display entity on top of the torch to make a giant torch flower that actually lights up. It's beautiful. If you go and get sweet berries and you're eating them, you can just accidentally start placing them around. You lose the sweet berry. You can't even break the small plant and get it back. And then accidentally walking inside of them slows you down. It's not my favorite. I mean, the fact that it can help you with fall damage is kind of cool, but he seems fine with it. All of this for one of the worst food sources in the game. Can't be worth it. Yeah, Observer's got the right idea with the steak there. Powder snow is one of the more useful blocks that's been added to Minecraft recently, with the help of being able to use it to make floating platforms while we're walking. You can use it for safe landing pads and stuff. But for all of that, it's not something that we can ever craft, and it takes an absurdly long time to get our cauldrons to fill up with it. Granted, you can go find patches for it on top of mountains, but finding those is already a pain, and it just takes forever for it to just fill into something. For one. That's all you get out of it is just one powder snow. So is it renewable? Technically, but is anyone ever gonna do it? I don't think so. I don't even think you could use dispensers to take stuff in and out of cauldrons. There's no way to automate this. Nope, it just dispenses the bucket. You can't even automatically get it so that you don't have to wait around for it. How lame. Crafting stairs is a ripoff. I hate to break it to you folks, Minecraft's ripping you off. Since if we were to take 6 of these blocks, we get four stair blocks that are each 3/4 of a block. So we're losing a lot of our blocks in the process. Now, thanks, Observer. Now, granted, this is one of the ones that's fixed by using the stone cutter, but that only works for our stone options. And so if I want to make stairs out of, I don't know, wood, no options there. So that's always going to be a ripoff. Here, let's get a visual representation. All of this condenses down into this. How? We take 6 of our blocks to get 2 trapdoors. All of that for this measly thing. I mean, doors are better, and doors never were great. Yeah, just beat it up. see where they're storing the rest of the wood in there. I mean, doors, you put 6 blocks, you do that, you get that. That works. I can understand that, right? Trapdoors, no chance. Copper trapdoor waxing. Now, most of the copper blocks be crafted from oxidized copper. So you pre-oxidize the crafted blocks, you have the whole variant for your palette. But let's say, thanks, Observer, you look pretty nice there. Our watchful guard. But if I'm building out of waxed oxidized copper and I just want to quickly make some trapdoors, I'm out of luck. You can't craft them ever. So the only way to get it is to then get some copper trapdoors and then just wait. And then when they get to the thing that you want, then you wax them and stuff, and hopefully they're in the right variant for what you want. Very annoying. For something that admittedly is a pretty cool building block. I mean, I don't like this one so much, but the other colors, absolutely. This looks great. Pigs have quickly become useless as a mob, because while our cows and sheep will drop secondary loot, like leather or wool, the pigs were only ones that would drop pork chops. Except now, with the help of hoglins, these guys drop pork chops and leather. So in that case, that's just cruel. I mean, I don't think what I'm gonna do is any more humane, but something about being killed while showing a picture of your dead body is pretty rough. But now hoglins are literally the best way to get cooked pork chop farms and leather. It's just, there's no love for our pigs. There's no place for pigs like me anymore. But yeah, pigs have quickly become exhausted in current Minecraft. So, if I were to snip off these mushrooms, it'll never go back. Even if I shock it with lightning, all I get is just a perfectly charred medium rare. It used to be, at least, if you accidentally did this, then you could breed them back together, but now there's no chance. You'll never get them back. So if someone were to come and decimate your population of mushrooms and cows, that's it. And then if I turn it into the weird mushroom cow and shear it, still, it's gone forever. I mean, it is dinner and a show. I will give it that credit. All right, so if I were to get Fortune 3 and mine against our quartz, we're having no luck here. My fortune's really not coming in handy here for Fortune 3. Pretty disappointing. You know, at least with copper, the benefits are getting better. I can go and make farms for this. I can go and make farms for the quartz too with bartering, but that gets really expensive. And the idea of having to do all these different steps just for slightly better building blocks really gets expensive. It's sort of ridiculous that the game has this as one of the hardest to get options. Thank goodness for the stone cutter though. The pedestals. This to show off that gold has the highest enchantability and mining speed of any of the items, but the trade-off of it being so low durability means that we can never actually find a purpose to use these tools, except you're like speedrunning or something. Because sure enough, if I went and got just a gold tool from something like a ruined portal, and then I enchanted it, on lower efficiencies, this ends up being a lot faster than diamond. Even unenchanted gold's better than unenchanted diamond. It's at the higher efficiencies where diamond wins out. But gold is never useful, especially if you've got something like gold ore. For some reason, gold can't break gold, which is a shame because I thought breaking was the only thing that gold was good for. But I take it in here. Yeah, efficiency 4. Look at that. Much better, but still a toothpick, no matter how much gold you put on top of it. Oh, this is one that I know bothers Observer. It bothers me too. The lack of movable tile entities. Now, tile entities refer to anything that can hold items inside of it. So that would be your chests, that would be your barrels, your furnaces, whatever. None of them are being able to move. At least, they can't be moved in Java Edition. In Bedrock, they move just fine. Nope, no luck. But I put any other block there, moves just fine. So, just to show how cool this could be, this is Carpet Mod, already has it fixed, and Nembon, who makes Carpet Mod, does work for Mojang, so I would hope to see this in the game. Look at this, I could just send off all my stuff. Imagine Mumbo Jumbo's moving house with this. So much cooler. There is no tool that is most efficient for breaking glass. Everything is the same as your fist. Whether I'm using the hoe, axe. Well, this is painful because I'm in a cobweb. I could use my shovel, a trident, mace, I don't care. Anything would be better. What it used to be, what I would do is I would get a pair of shears, an anvil, and then you could add this back together in survival when that used to work. And then, whenever you broke things, it wouldn't lose durability back in the day, because there was no intention for this to be used this way. So you'd have an infinite silk touch tool for breaking your glass. But now, no luck. Is that the perfect tool right there? The enchanted stake? Ow! It's the perfect tool to remove me. So you go down into the ancient city, which is already a pain. You go and search through, you get all the different echo shards, all to make the recovery compass, which for the life of me, I've never found a good use for. I get it, you die, you want to have this back at your base, maybe in your ender chest, it points you back to get your stuff. But I usually know where I die, and, you know, you have to be in a situation where I'm gonna know where I die now. Alright, so I got my recovery compass. I know that it's pointing me that way, but if I forget to leave this at home, I can't get back. It's an endgame tool that's really only good for when you die, which doesn't happen a lot endgame anyway. It's not very well balanced. The most cruel thing I've seen is that you can add Curse of Vanishing to the recovery compass, so then when you die, you lose that too, making it an even more useless item. So, let's say I want to make myself a bee farm for all the different things that I want to start farming. You know, I want honey blocks for maybe a door. If I want this, I can't move this ever without having Silk Touch. Even if I were to go and smoke it out, there's no tool without Silk Touch that lets me move the bees. Break it. Nope, now they just get mad at me. Also, this reminds me that bees have a lot more health in Minecraft than I ever thought they did. You're gonna need Silk Touch. Silk Touch takes forever to get. If you're regular enchanting for it, good luck. If you're going and doing villager resetting, that at least gives you a renewable way of getting it, but it's still annoying. So with the experimental changes for minecart rails, powered rails are a lot more useful because they can go a lot faster. Though, with that, they're still way too expensive to actually justify. I mean, look at this. That is 6 gold ingots for only 6 of these things. At least we get 16 from the regular iron recipe. And because we need powered rails or some weird system of regular rails to make it usable, it's... This is just like a DVD screensaver. It's really impractical to use minecarts. For one, if you want to go the fastest, use something like a piston bolt, which isn't even using these anyway. Yeah, I don't know. It's... yeesh. I don't know. It's not even like our furnace minecarts can really work anyway. So there's no good alternative. And because these are too expensive and you can't just go find them in the mine shafts like regular rails, you're either left to duping, which people have problems with for obvious reasons, or you're left with never using it, which I think is too bad, especially if they want to change these to make them more usable. That might be nice. Even just adding something like copper being the usage for this would make it a lot easier to have. And what are you pointing at? Is that a super knockback bow? I only have half a heart. Yeah, okay. See, this is the best transportation, is that you just give your friend a super punch bow. So let's say that I'm going and harvesting all the crops that I've got inside of this village. And, you know, there's a farmer villager tending to their wares, as to be expected. I'm going through, accidentally he surprisingly did not care about that. Normally, when you would punch a villager, the iron golem would get mad at you, and then there you go. You've made the whole village off limits until you get rid of this. But even if you get rid of it, you still have higher trades now with the villager. It's very annoying, and I can't exactly coerce it easily to be nicer to me. This is shocking. This is the most... Okay, thank you. This is the most laissez-faire iron golem. Commence! Oh. We might want to commence not here. If you're running away from the warden, let's say you finally get behind a wall or something, you dig a tunnel, you think you're safe, all for a warden laser just to blast you right through blocks. You can't even see it anymore. It's very annoying. Some might even say unfair. I had this happen to me in the July series when we were escaping from the wardens in the ancient city. I hated it because you can do all that you think you can. I mean, I'm on wool over here right now. I'm shifting. I shouldn't be on its radar, but before you know it, it'll just trigger you, shoot you through blocks, and you're dead. I get this is so that, you know, obviously the warden's big. I can look at its hitbox. It's too big to fit in here. They wanted some way where you couldn't just cheese it, but getting out of its range, going through solid blocks, and still being able to get blasted through any of the blocks, there's no block that you can put to dampen the sonic boom. That's pretty unfair. Observer, you want to take a stroll in my igloo? Don't pay attention to the basement. Just, okay, well, you can't blame me if I didn't clean up down here. So, if we've got our villagers and our zombie. So, if I have it on easy mode, they're just never going to convert, ever. It's a 0% chance on easy mode. On normal mode, you at least get a 50% chance that it zombifies. Hard is the only difficulty where it's 100% guaranteed that it's going to zombify. So now we're on hard, we at least get this, which seems more forgiving, that you now have the chance to then go and change your villager back. Because if I had a great villager and I lost it to a zombie, I would feel like I was playing hard mode if it just died. So this is one of the reasons why I'll never play on easy mode, because on easy, it's just so unfair that you'll never get it back. It's completely 0% chance of converting. Horses are another one of those forms of transportation that just seems like it's not useful compared to the elytra. And one of the reasons for that is because if you have a horse and we're gonna ride it on the water, you just automatically dismount. It doesn't even give me the chance to try and cross it very well with this. Just nothing. And considering I can't put the horse in a boat, it's just no luck. Now, if I had like a skeleton horse, I can't just give it a saddle in creative mode when that's so stupid. Add that to the list. I can't add a saddle to a mob that I spawned in creative mode. Even the llamas can make it across just fine on water. Now I made it across. So pumpkin pie is something I love in Minecraft. I thought it was gonna be my thing. I like this chicken that we have here, but pumpkin pie takes 3 different ingredients to make, right? You're gonna need pumpkins, you're gonna need eggs, you're gonna need sugar, and you put all that together only for it to be less saturation than bread, which is just wheat. I don't know why. I don't know why they have you go through that much just to get this, and it's worse. It's the same thing as rabbit stew. Oh, you wanted to get me started on rabbit stew? We don't even have this on the list, but I'm talking about rabbit stew now, Observer. Rabbit stew, so it's a baked potato, a carrot, a cooked rabbit, and a mushroom of some sort, and that gets us 1 rabbit stew, which gives you less hunger filled than just eating all the things separately. Rabbit stew, only need it for the balanced diet thing, completely pointless. I hate rabbit stew. We're going over to the end, Observer. And now, when we're in here and I turn on hitboxes, we're gonna get a nice up close and personal look at the Ender Dragon's hitbox, which is a mess. It's hard to parse this thing. So if I look at this, these green parts are what I'm supposed to be able to hit, but the amount of times you'll be standing underneath and you just start missing. You know, is it easier to go after the tail? You get more damage on the head, but if you can hit it, and you can get hit by it all over the place. So I've just never, I always start missing at some point hitting the Ender Dragon. Very unfair hitbox. This feels like one of the things that they should have updated at some point, but it just kind of stayed the same. We've got our house right here and a nice teleport to take us over to the Nether. If I've got this, right, I go to sleep in the bed, and because of intentional game design, it just explodes. Now, I get why it has to explode. They didn't want the player to respawn in the Nether, at least until they added in more things to the Nether. But originally, the idea was that if you did that, you could get soft locked or whatever. It wasn't intentional to have you go there. But making it explode, funny, and has its own uses, but it's hard to say it's not unfair. I guess the only thing is that we eventually got it back by using these to get ourselves ancient debris. So, touche. And with that, folks, YouTube thinks that you might like this video. So see if they're right and have a good one. All right?